And Representative Newton and Herb Kurzman are stuck in traffic and they should be here in a minute, which would give us a quorum. So just bear with us a little bit longer. Meeting is now called to order. It's the Wednesday, September 21st meeting of the Jasper County Delegation. If you would, please stand with me and face the flag, and we will all say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you will continue standing for the invocation. Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to be here in your midst this afternoon. We thank you for the ability to serve. We ask your guidance as we do your will. Amen.
Amen.
I think everyone here has the agenda, and the agenda previously was passed out to the members of the delegation by our staff. Are there any changes or corrections to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, if I may be in correct order, I ask that we approve the agenda as printed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It has been approved and properly seconded. All those in favor say aye.
No.
Opposers? None. Next, we have the approval of the minutes. The minutes are contained in your packet there. I will give you a minute to look at the minutes if you don't mind, if you have not seen it previously. In reviewing it, I see on page 2 in A, where it refers to school board redistricting resolution, there's only one change that I see on line 3 regarding after the word team, cartographer, I think it says choreographer. So we need to change that word to cartographer, and Will Roberts from the Senate, cartographer. And other than that, those are the only changes I would propose, just clerical changes to the minute. After you review it, please let us know if you have any other changes. Any changes? The floor is now open for any other corrections or motions regarding the approval of minutes. Hear any? Are there any motions? Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposes. The minutes will be approved from the April 29th, 2022 minutes. Now we go on to item number 5. This is the part that I like the best.
Madam Chairman, if I may, just I would be an aye for Mr. Davis with his proxy. I wasn't at that meeting, so an abstention for me.
No problem at all. Clerk Shell updated your records to show that he's an abstention on the approval of the minutes.
For me, but for Mr. Davis, an approval.
And the record will note that you have the proxy for Tom Davis, who is not able to be here this afternoon. That's correct?
Yeah.
Now, item 5 is the item that really is one that I sort of like this evening. This is the election of officers. Every other year we change officers with this delegation, and I'd like to open the floor for the election of it would be 24 officers for the Jasper County delegation. And I'd like to start out as the past chair. I can tell you it was a pleasure to serve. It's more challenging than it looks, because it's like herding cats, because we're all leaders, but it is fun. The delegation office has been great to work with, as well as the members of the House and the Senate that I'm with. It was a little quiet for the first part of my service because we were in the pandemic, so there wasn't a lot going on because everything was closed down. But nevertheless, it's been a learning experience. I think I was able to have more contact with than ever with the school board who are here tonight, and thank you for coming, as well as I see Madam Chair with County Council Clark, and I see Alton Jenkins. If you'll stand, please, Alton. A lot of people don't know you. He's our new VA director. That has been one of the best things that I think we did as a delegation during my tenure. You see a lot of nods, and I don't know whether you know it, Representatives Newton and her person. The reason why I'm pointing you all out is I can't tell you the number of people from Beaufort that contact me that I send to him. I had a doctor just 2 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, that contacted me because he'd been waiting and waiting, couldn't get help. He'd gone to 2 other counties. I sent him to Alton, and he called me back late at night and said it took him 2 days to get done what they couldn't do in a year elsewhere. So this is a jewel, and I've talked to the Adjutant General about you, and I will be following up with you, Councilwoman Clark, because we need to commend this gentleman. We're having problems in Beaufort trying to get someone.
That's right.
His computer skills are bar none, and his ability, someone actually got him confused with thinking that he was Senator Scott's Al Jenkins. I said, no, this is a real Al Jenkins, the one that gets stuff done. And I'm just kidding, because I like Mr. Jenkins in Senator Scott's office too, but we've got to do something to make sure that we commend him for his excellent service. And I know talking isn't enough. Sometimes you need a little bit more incentive.
Thank you so much.
At this time, I'd like to open the nominations for chair of the delegation, and I would move that Representative Williams be nominated as chair of the Jasper delegation for the next term.
Second. Madam Chair, I move the nominations be closed.
It's been moved, and it's by acclamation, since there are no other persons. Representative Williams, take it over.
Okay. First, I would like to say thank you all for having trust and faith in me to serve for the next 2 years as the chair of the Jasper County delegation. I also want to, as I go farther, want to recommend Mr. Jenkins. We had a situation where we had to hire someone over in Hampton, and he took the load on until we were able to get Ms. Sharon over there. Now, we do have another jewel in the area. It's just amazing how you hear people from other counties have to come to another county to get veteran service. So I want to commend you on that, and I look forward to continuing working with you. So, again, thank you all for having trust in me. I would like to open the floor now for nominations for vice chair of the Jasper County delegation.
Chairman, I'd like to nominate Tom Davis, Senator Tom Davis.
Second.
Move it closed and be accepted by acclamation.
All right. Motion's been made, second, and motion's been made to close the nomination. So Senator Davis will serve for the next 2 years as the vice chair.
Did you pass this by here, Senator Davis? That's what happens when you're absent.
You got it, sir.
But this is Bill's last meeting, so we got Jeff Bradley, who's the possibility.
Yeah.
Past chairman,
Chair,
then
so,
you,
yeah.
so now it's
It moves on.
time for Tom to,
Step up,
again.
jump in again.
Okay, discussion items that we have, item number 6 is school board redistricting lines, the House subcommittee report. Several times the House members have communicated, we've reached out for legal advice on 2-3 times, and we kind of came to the conclusion that, something needs to be done, something needs to be addressed. However, Representative Newton has been very close in what has been provided to us as legal advice. Representative Newton, would you like to, or would you report out to us, what should we do at this point?
Sure, Representative Williams. Despite best efforts, the Senate Bill 1218 passed the Senate and came over to the House and was referred to the delegation in May. Despite our best efforts, the clerk and the Speaker's office made it known that under the provisions of the sine die resolution, they did not believe that we had the authority to take up this matter in the House, which by virtue of that means that we're refiling in January. I mean, we tried the couple of times that we came back since we left in May, but were advised that we could not do that. The bill that obviously was approved as a starting point in the Senate was a 7-member board. Clearly, the districts are malapportioned based on the population growth, and we need to move forward. Part of the chairman's charge to us as a subcommittee was if we wanted to and needed to move forward with coordinating another public hearing on the difference perhaps of 7 and 9. I know that I was not able to get to the earlier public hearing, and it may be that what we're talking about now is with Representative Bradley joining us in January, that we need to come to conclusion about what we're doing. There's a 7-member bill that I believe that Will Roberts and his group made sure that they weren't involved in making sure the balancing of the.
No. If I could say,
Yeah, please.
when I appeared in my discussions with the school district at the meeting in April, that was when there was discussion about either going with a 7-member. It was thrown out there, 5-member, 7-member, or 9-member. We were on the crunch, as many of this, I see all of the school board members here. There was a crunch on time, and I expressed to them that, hey, we're coming up on sine die time. And we gave the timeline. It was my understanding that it was the majority's desire to go with 7, but I specifically expressed that if the House could change, if they changed their mind, did not want to proceed with 7, that the House could change it to 9. And then, as I understand, we had the cartographers, I believe it was Breeden John and Will Roberts, to come down from the Senate to have a session individually with each of the board members to look at both ideas. They submitted a proposed 7 when that bill passed the Senate, and if the House then wanted to change it back to 9, it was up to them. And I understand the school board then had John Roof to draw a proposed map for 9 members, not keeping it as 9 district and doing it proportionally according to the deviation as outlined by the redistricting requirements. Then I had the Senate to present 2 proposals of 9-member districts, because at that time I found out that the school members, there was some kickback regarding going to 7. So then I presented to all of the members of the delegation the proposed 9-member district maps that would fit within the Justice Department requirements regarding deviation. And initially when this was done, I wasn't so worried about the time, because our Senate folks told us that local legislation such as this, because of the importance of it, could be taken up in the sine die. And there is, because we've done some local appointments in our sine die, so it was my assumption that this too would be one of those. But I understand what the House is saying. If it's not specifically in there, it's nothing we can do about it.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, I note in the minutes from the April 29 meeting, at that point, Senator Davis made a motion, and I I wasn't at that meeting, but to table the redistricting resolution until a June public hearing could be scheduled with the school district. Obviously then we're into sine die, we can't take it up until we go back in January. But I would suggest that we coordinate a public hearing before we go back in January. But this isn't a public hearing just for the school district. No offense, but it would make sense to hold it with you all. But it's a public hearing for the public to come weigh in on what they want to see, much like we did for the redistricting in the House and you all did in the Senate, for folks to come in and share their thoughts about what redistricting should look like. So I think I'm correct, Senator, that there's a 7-member plan that was presented in the House. I mean, in the Senate. Is still pending in the House. We can't act on it. There is a 9-member plan, and then there was a second 9-member plan.
2 of them. 2 proposed ones, and one that I believe the school board themselves, some of the members sought out the NAA. I see a shaking of the head, but I thought I received something from John Roof with the NAACP of a proposed 9-member plan. And this is why I brought up from the beginning, and I think I sent it to, I know I sent it to the chairlady of the school board, and it's the same thing I did in Colleton County, and that was done in other counties. We didn't want to micromanage the school board. So what I said was, you come up with a plan with my folks or the House folks. It didn't matter, because I knew they had the computer program. You sit down, you come up with a plan that you're comfortable with, as long as it meets the guidelines, and then you pass a proposal and vote upon it and have the public communicate that their acceptance or problems with it. And once you as a board sign a resolution to us that that's the plan you want, I was prepared to support it. But I understand now that they want to do a different, and Representative Newton, make sure I understand it. Before, when we did the public hearing, it was coordinated by the school district. That was in April of 2022, correct? And there was folk, and that was televised. There were people there, and that was noticed by the school board. Is it your intention in your subcommittee to have a public hearing that is coordinated by the delegation?
I would think so, yeah, and it's certainly not my subcommittee. It's Representative Williams' subcommittee. I'm just a lowly member of the committee.
No, we appointed you.
No, I went back and looked at those minutes to make certain of that. But I do think that, I mean, similar to what we did 10 years ago, and similar to the redistricting that the House did, is that I think now, while we held those public hearings at the school, I mean, there were public hearings that were coordinated by the state delegation, for the purpose of receiving input on the deviation. I mean, as I've looked through these plans in trying to understand, the Senate's total deviation was plus or minus 5. Not these plans, but your plan. The Senate plan. And the criteria we adopted in the House was plus or minus 5 as well. Yes. In looking at these proposals, I mean, one of these, the 9-district member proposal from the school district itself, is, let's see, 4.39 and 3.39. That's 8.2. Total deviation. So I don't believe that the delegation has adopted a criteria as to a number, but we may want to, either talk about that or look at it. But I think that the total deviation on the 7-member plan that was in the Senate perhaps was 5 or less.
Yes, it was. It was much easier or cleaner to do to meet the guideline with the 7. But as I understand, and I have not received anything specifically regarding a vote from the school board, and maybe Madam Chair can speak to this, on whether or not it is their desire to remain as 9. I assume that it is.
Chair.
Good evening, Chair.
Good evening.
Delegation. It is the desire of this board that we remain 9 members.
Okay.
And they actually like the current map that we are currently divided as in districts 1 through 9. So the deviation, I believe, was, what do you say, 8% there, but we do believe, I'm sorry.
And what I was going to say, I mean, the current deviation is very malapportioned and can't remain. I mean, the current districts, if I look under the benchmark plan, the total deviation there is 79.13% over and 24.6% under in one of the districts. Under any prism, that's considered malapportioned and can't stand. It doesn't. It's not one man, one vote. It's just it's too many people in one district and not enough in the other.
You remember how we talked about how there was a lot of growth in the southern part of Jasper and a lot of loss in the upper part, the northern part. So we had to try to proportion the numbers. So what you have now in your current districts is what Representative Newton is saying cannot remain.
Yeah, District 6 is 79.13%, the benchmark. 79% over the deviation, and District 4 is 26.94%. So the guidelines we're looking for is to try to bring those numbers down. In the House, we brought them down to a total deviation of 5%. So it was either 2.5 over or 2.5 under to be a total deviation of 5. I think the Senate did the same thing. So
Exact same.
That's part of the challenge in looking at these maps and trying to figure out where and how to get that the one man, one vote principle to not be out of deviation. But Mr. Chairman, perhaps coordinating a public hearing held by the delegation, certainly at the school auditorium is a great location. Get Will Roberts and his team to come down and well, I think would be appropriate. I mean, when we did it 10 years ago, we had maybe a series of 3 public hearings that ended up being well attended.
Right.
So, but obviously we got a new member of the delegation coming on, and this deviation is an issue. Obviously, with the 7-person plan, that deviation is a lot tighter than it is with the 9.
Okay. Thank you, Representative Newton. And as I read over the notes and did attend the meeting, and the map of 7 was presented and as stated in there, I told them that, I expressed to the board members to accept it, or they can go back and work amongst themselves and have a map created to their specifics that they would like to see. But I did also mention that the numbers and the deviation has to be at a certain point. So, and I've received calls and I've received emails individually, particularly from the chairperson and other members, that the desire is to remain at 9 members. So I think now we have to work out the situation of the deviation of our numbers to make sure that they match. So just know that we are working towards this, and there will be no acceptance of any map tonight.
He knows what he's doing.
I'm sure. Is there anything else from any delegation member?
Mr. Chairman, if you need a motion to coordinate a public hearing, I'm happy to make that motion. Otherwise, I just would call on you in your newly appointed role to please coordinate a public hearing. And
as a matter of fact, we will do that. We will communicate with the school board members, and we'll come up with a date or 2 or possibly 3 to have them to express their concerns as well as the public, and to take input, and we'll move forward from there. A date will be announced at a later time.
Can I make a suggestion that because we're going to be in session before we know it, and time is going to be of the essence.
Mhm.
Since we've had the one that was advertised, can instead of having 3, can maybe
Right.
we have one and give people enough notice
Yeah.
so that we can get this on the calendar as soon as we get back and get this, because elections are going to be coming up.
And we may be able to do it, I mean, I would think before we go back in January.
Yeah,
So
that's-
as soon as
that's
we
the
go
plan.
back, we can
That would
introduce a
be
bill.
wonderful.
And I know Ms. Clark's here, and county council has always been gracious to offer their facilities and be involved, and it's probably, the school, you'll need a bigger location at one of the school auditoriums than just council chambers, but,
It worked well in the media arts auditorium.
Madam Chair is recognized.
So we are currently in election. We have four seats up now.
For
and
November.
Have actually said they're going to run. So as I looked at the lines with the NAACP, it changes the districts. Okay, so currently, I mean, for example, me, I'm 4, I would be 1. You know, if we went with one of the proposed maps. So for people that have printed campaign literature and things of that nature, I just think that that has to also be considered, even though I know the numbers aren't there for the deviation, but people have gone forward to start campaigning based on an old map. So I just wanted that to be brought to your attention.
If you remember, we talked about that at our concern about the election coming up.
Yeah, but we're not, I'm sorry.
With the new, and I was concerned about all 3 maps that we had floating around and what it would look like. I don't know what the answer is.
well, nothing that we would do
It's going to be
in January has any effect on November's election. So, I mean, whatever districts exist
Right.
today, members continue to run in those districts. We don't have, the discussion we were having inside baseball about that the Senate had been able to do something, but we hit sine die and we were not able to get it approved, and that we weren't able to take it up in the House based on the rules that limit what the House can do once we left in May. So whatever district lines exist today exist. When we go back in January, we're talking about introducing a redistricting plan then that will have a component to that as to what happens to the elections that occurred in November and the election coming up, the subsequent November of 24. Right. So Mr. Herb Kurzman's lines have changed.
Yes.
He's still here today. After November, he's running under the new lines in November. He won't be here anymore. It's not dissimilar from that. There would be whatever lines exist today. Those are the lines you run under.
Okay.
After the November election, the lines get changed, and that legislation would provide for when those new lines took effect and for what election cycle.
Mr. Chairman, did Representative Newton present a motion?
Cannot hear you.
Okay, did Representative Newton, was that a motion that he proposed?
It wasn't. I told him if he needed a motion, it would, but I thought as chairman, he could simply coordinate and call for.
We'll coordinate. That was an accepted motion.
Okay, thank you.
All right, our next item is the relocation of the Coosahatchee voting precinct.
Is there someone here from the Elections Commission?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there you are.
The Coosahatchee Community Center has been condemned due to hazardous conditions. So we're asking the delegation to please allow us to relocate the voters in the Coosahatchee Community Center to the Coosahatchee Baptist Church. It's 1.3 miles apart. We've met with the pastor of the church, and he is elated to have us there. So we're just requesting permission so we can get the voters their new cards for this coming election.
I don't even think we need a discussion on that.
It's in the packet. It has been previously sent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So at this time, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We got a signature.
Yes, here it
Okay.
is.
And next we're down to our board appointments. We have advertised and we received applications, And the first one we'll address is the Jasper County Board of Disability and Special Needs. It looks like we don't have any candidate for appointment.
I would move that the new candidate for appointment, Henry Etheridge, be appointed to the Jasper County Board of Disabilities and Special Needs, Mr. Chair.
All right, motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Chairman, can I just add a little bit of discussion to that?
Okay.
And we voted for it in the past. Mr. Rogers, I want to thank you for doing that. I mean, I serve on the Health and Human Service Subcommittee in Ways and Means. And the hardest thing we have is people that are volunteers for disabilities and special needs. And it shows through our state. I think Jasper County is on the forefront of this. And I think we expect good things. I really thank you for doing that.
Can I say something? I served on the Resource Foundation of this board for many years before. And I've been trying to help them a little bit, even though it wasn't like that. But I appreciate y'all nominating me to go back. Okay?
Thank you.
Next, we have the Jasper County Transportation Committee. We have one applicant for this position, which will replace a great friend and great leader that passed away, Mr. Eric Flint. We have Mr. Bronco Bostick as the only applicant at this time. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor? The ayes?
Aye.
Ayes have it. We're now down to Jasper, Beaufort Jasper Higher Ed Commission. We only have one applicant for this as well. Ms. Melody Baxter. Term actually expired 6/30/2022. And has a desire to be reappointed. Is she here? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. We're now down to County Forestry Board. Consideration for appointment. How many is it?
How many slots are available?
It's
Three.
5 position, but only 2 vacancies if you reappoint those 3.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna take that.
So, how many people are on the, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I think I'm still chairperson.
To give
I'm
away.
sorry.
You usually do that.
I'm sorry. How many people, may I ask, how many people
Sure.
are on the forestry board?
Yeah.
How many slots are available?
2 slots for 5 members.
Okay, but how many are currently serving?
All of their term has expired.
They're serving until replaced or
Right.
at least reappointed.
Right.
But your terms have expired years ago.
So we have 2 members who are currently in the ring of being current members under their time frame.
All 3 of these
All
ones
of them
here
have
are already
Yes.
expired.
Right. But we have 2 members. Are they 5 members currently serving to include these 3?
No,
No.
Okay.
only those 3.
Ellen Goodman died.
Okay. So is there a motion to accept the slate of 3? Or
I'm happy to do it, Mr. Chairman. At the appropriate time, I have a question that I'd like to ask as well. But I mean, for purposes of this, I'm happy to move the reappointment of Ms. Comer to Mr. DeBose and Ms. Gregory.
Second.
motion been made and second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. We have 3 members. We can meet them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, if I may. The
Sure.
question just I had, in doing this, for everybody's benefit, I don't think any of us today knows what length of term they've been appointed to and from what date.
No, sir. When we took over, we tried relentlessly to get the records. And most of them, their term had expired long before we came.
So I guess what I'm it would be helpful in preparing the letter and sending these recommendations up. I mean, I think these are recommendations for us, and the governor actually does the appointing.
Yes, sir.
To try to identify when a letter goes up, what term
It
have we
starts
then?
now because they're not vicing anyone.
I'm sorry.
They're not vice. You know how you replace somebody?
Right.
So I guess what y'all are
These would be
saying,
3 new
what
appointments.
she's saying is she's gonna start their term from now.
Well, the governor will do it, not us.
Can I-
And the lack of clarity that I've tried to even get out of their office is,
Can I say something?
when's the term expire?
This does not go through the governor's office. This
It's out?
it goes to the State Forestry Commission. And I called there last week, and the young lady that was in there sent these names with their expiration in your package. That's when their term expires. So if you reappoint them, they would start from the dates that's on there.
Those dates?
Yes.
For how long a term?
It's 2 years.
Okay, and the reason that I say that,
Yeah,
we
'cause-
appoint somebody whose term expired in 18 for a 2-year term, now they're expired again.
I would suggest that we appoint them for a 2-year term from September of 2022.
22, at least recommend.
22.
June 30 is
Yeah.
the date that starts every one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to clarify that it's June
30,
2022 for a
yeah.
2-year
Yeah.
term.
That's good.
So,
If you would, when we send this information up, let's request from 6/30 September 2022 to serve a 2-year term.
I think
To September 24?
So 2024.
Okay.
Right.
24. You said 22. So
No, starting from 2022.
And can I just add to that, and if it's found that it has to be from June, if it's found in statute, it has to be from June, we can back to June 2022 for,
Okay.
but, okay. Chairman.
Not a problem.
can I get one more question?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last, ladies, so as I understand it, we've just now reappointed 3 members to the Forestry Board, but that means we have 2 vacancies,
Right.
2 seats that are not filled.
Yes.
In seeking these reappointments, did we run an ad in the newspaper?
The newspaper is costly, so we utilize the county website and the delegation website for advertising.
Are we able to, Mr. Chair? I know I have to ask, follow around, but anyway, are we able to use the television community board?
We have not looked into that.
Because I know Hargrave has a really good one where they usually post all of the openings for Beaufort County, and Jasper's in that viewing area. It would be great if we could check on that because it seems like a community spotlight.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the other, finding good folks to serve is one of the most challenging things, not only for the Jasper delegation, for the Beaufort delegation. I know that county council has been willing certainly to help put it on their website, help promote it. But we may want to look at what an advertisement costs. I know in Beaufort we're still running, we're putting ads in the paper just to make sure it reaches not just folks that may be looking on the county website, but telling everybody, hey, we got all these boards and commissions and we need your help. Come get involved and offer to serve. So perhaps that would be something we could look into.
Thank you, Representative. If you all would please take, let's get a scale of the costs and the sizes and all that.
And we've got,
Okay, for our last meeting, we did run the ad in the paper, and it was around $160 for a couple of days. And I think they ran it for 2 weeks.
So they won't run as community service?
No, sir.
Not the newspaper, but we need to check with the television station.
Okay.
That was $160 for the advertisement for boards and commissions or for the notice of the meeting?
For the boards and commissions.
You would think.
There was a time it was a free service, but not anymore.
All right. At this time, Madam Chair, Ms. Clark, do you have anything on your old business or any updates that you'd like to bring forward to us?
Yes. I moved towards you this afternoon with a sad heart because we've worked with this fine gentleman for 10 long years. And there have been some rough spots, but guess what?
We're still in it.
They're intelligent enough to still be in the fight. And he's not leaving us because he wants to. They redrew the line. And tonight, Bill, we want to say thank you. I know I've been a pest to you, but guess what? I'm going to keep on pestering you because these people need your support also when it comes to something for Jasper County. But we want you to know that we love you, and on behalf of the Jasper County Council and the people who are in Jasper County, we want to give you this beautiful dish garden. We want you to place on your desired desk, because you have so many of them. We want you to
I
have
don't have room on it.
and we want to say we love you. Please don't forget about my brother.
Wow.
All right.
Well, thank you. Mr. Chairman, can I?
Yes, you sure can.
I just want to say it's 10 years went by fast, and I got to say, you know, I noticed the slogan, "The Jasper is on the move." You got people like Barbara Clark. You got the school board here who really care about what's going on. You have members of the community that have really stepped up, and you know, most of them are the people that have been here, but a lot of new people that have came in have made Jasper their home, and have really stepped up. I mean, I can't say enough about what's happened in the past 10 years. I mean, some of it good, you know, most of it good. I mean, we had to go through the pandemic and all that. You know, I do want to say Barbara Lynn Terry and Ellen Drake Howard have been wonderful to work with. They stopped by my office yesterday, and we got a chance to talk. And when they left, I thought, you know what? How lucky is Jasper County to have these ladies here working? And they're so dedicated. So thank you for all that you've done to make our job easier. But also what you've done for Jasper County. I think it's made it does on a daily, it makes a big difference. Just like everyone here has made a big difference. 10 years ago, we had or less than 10 years ago, when we had the new members come in, when at the unfortunate passing of Clem Pinckney, when Marjorie Brent Matthews came in and Shedron Williams came in. You know, we had a couple of rows and all that, but it was you know, some of rows back and forth, but it was kind of, but you know, it came out to be good. I mean, now these folks are my family. I mean, you know, Margie had some unfortunate and sad things happen to her family, and it felt, you know, it affected all of us. I mean, we all felt it, and so I want to thank you all for making it a great, you know, for the progress that we made over here, and for making me feel welcome in Jasper County, even though I'm across 278 in the Beaver County. But so, and then thank you, and thank Jasper County. I just want to thank everybody in Jasper County, and thank you so much for the help. And Barbara Clark, you're right. I mean, you know, we're joined at the hip. Beaver and Jasper are joined at the hip, and you know, you sneeze and we get a cold. So, I just want to say that, you know, we will always be here to work with Jasper. I'll do everything I can to further the interest in Jasper County. It's you know, my heart's here. Thank all of you. Thank you.
I would be remiss if I did not just take a stand and thank, I call him Brother Bill, for being a guide for me. He actually sits to the right of me, and I have to stop him and Representative Rivers sometime. But he's a great guy. Some things that I didn't know when I first got to Columbia, I knew I could always turn to him, and he's always been sincere and honest. And if it wasn't a good idea, he would let me know, don't go to that well with that. Leave that alone. And, you know, I just want to say thank you. And a lot of you all don't know, over the last couple of years, I learned some things about him that I didn't know. Anytime there's a hurricane, a tornado here Barbados, Trinidad, whatever, this gentleman always make relief flights, taking care of people from around the world. And I did agree just a couple hours ago that I would, if we needed to go to Puerto Rico, because my family have a planned trip. Let's go see what's going on first. But just want to say thank you for all that he do all around. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think I have to say here, Bill is like that cousin that you like to fight with, but you still love, because he's a good sportsman. He knows how to take it. He and I can disagree, and then we meet up in the library and hug each other. And when my husband was ill this summer, and we were out of the country, and my brother died, I think all in a matter of weeks. One of the first texts I got was from Bill. And when he found out I had COVID, he was trying to prescribe medicine. So he's now a pilot. Exactly, Lord help me. He's a pilot, he's a businessman, and he's a know-it-all, period. And I love him, and it's been a pleasure. And I'm going to keep sucking up to him. Ain't no shame to my game, because Jasper needs your help on Ways and Means.
Well, I have it, I can tell you.
Thank
that.
you.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, obviously, let me do a couple of comments, but then under old business, I got some questions about the PARD and the Fish and Wildlife Grant. We're gonna miss you, brother. 10 years, it's been a journey with you, and I think, Barbara, thank you very much for paying tribute for your service for the folks in Jasper County and your commitment to the Low Country bill, and making sure that this entire region of the state is represented in ways and means and funding and attention that comes back here. We're going to miss you. Jeff's got some awfully big shoes to fill. But please don't go too far away. We need you to continue to be involved. So thank you again for your service. Representative Williams, if I may, just a couple of questions. I know that under old business, there are two matters. One is this PARD grant for the city of Hardyville, and the other is this fishing, which is the Hardyville project, Millstone landing shelter request. They're in our packet, I know, for signature. Quite frankly, I thought they were on the agenda, just identified under old business, which is fine. I am curious if we know what the balance of our PARD funds are for Jasper County, and are there any other applications?
Is it in here?
That's the latest one on PARD grant allocations.
Okay.
No, it's just one.
It's just his?
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to hold up the meeting. If we don't have the information, I just would ask that.
It's here.
Oh,
It's
okay.
here. It's here.
Just that we confirm we've got obviously at least $40,000, but that these matters be actually placed on the agenda.
It's here. We have it in front of you. So what is it?
29,000 for 2023, and 20 we had 31, 29, 27. But how much? So we've still got $90,626.62 available for allocation. This is $40,000. The reason that I want to make sure that Ms. Clark is back there hearing as well, that we've got a $50,000 balance in a PARD fund that is
We need to do something with it.
And some of the county council members are always saying we need to do something with the park.
right. So one of our jobs is to make sure you all are aware that we've got these PARD funds available for the municipalities to apply, for the county government to apply.
You hear from us in the morning.
Good. So which qualifies. And Mr. Chairman, I've signed on this, on both myself and Senator Davis, but I would ask, unfortunately, I'm probably a stickler, but the endorsement form that PRT likes to use, quite frankly, I'm not sure is valid, because I think the matter's still got to be voted on at a delegation meeting, or at least processed, attended to a delegation meeting. So I just, if we can, as a matter of protocol, just put those on the agenda for us to process. I know we're trying to make sure we do that in Beaufort. There was recently a UMC one that came up, and then there were objections that other municipalities didn't have an opportunity to get to put in for the same money. If we put it on the agenda, we make sure that everything is being balanced and nobody gets offended that we've left them home. So to the extent that it's on there, I would move approval of this and have signed it for that purpose as well.
A copy of it was emailed.
I think you need a motion.
So, a motion has been made to accept the proposal for the hard grant in the amount of $40,000. Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Ayes? Aye. All right.
We need to sign
Yeah,
I think
yeah, you need to sign.
they just do that, because we just bring it around.
No, it's on next meeting. Okay. Because, all right. Are there any other business at this time?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I do believe that that is something that we need to make sure, considering the problems that they have had in other counties regarding what monies are available. I'd like to make sure that we communicate it with county council whenever we get these notices from DNR regarding the monies that are available, so that they can also work with us in the municipalities to make sure that the requests that, because county maintenance and county, your folks look at all of the parks to see what's needed. It would help us sitting up here to get, that's what we do in Colleton. They usually come to our meetings and they tell us which ones are in disrepair and where we need to apply the money. So he makes a very valid, Representative Newton makes a very valid point. But here again, we probably need to do a better job of making sure that DNR communicates what monies are out there so that we can place them in the right location.
Mr. Chairman, to the extent you need a motion for the remaining item under the old business, I know that there is a SCDNR property acquisition with regard to Myers Lake, that we approve the permanent protection of 973 acres in Jasper County by South Carolina Department of Natural Resources as a heritage preserve. I so moved.
All right. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Let's have it.
Move for adjournment.
Right. Motion's been made to adjourn. And if all business has been conducted, this meeting is adjourned.
Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.